Are we live?
Yeah.
We're running? Any second. Is everybody ready?
Yeah.
Well, waiting for it to flip, but it should be any. It's the longest 60 seconds of my life. There's a lot of gray area we trade in, so if I can be in the black and white, we'll do it. We call the Oglesby City Council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Here.
Cullinan.
Here.
McDermott.
Here.
Moyle.
Here.
Curran.
Here, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Number 4, public comment on agenda items only. Oh, just pull it towards yourself. The little button under the microphone, just pull it towards yourself. Sorry.
Sorry about that. Good evening, everybody. My name is Maria Borgi. In this wonderful country of ours, we have freedoms. Freedoms mean different things to different peoples. For me, freedom means to do the right thing even if everybody else is doing wrong. Mr. Bass has the right to apply for short-term rental, but not at the expense of his neighbors. First of all, he bought the property at 125 Oakwood Avenue on false pretenses. It was supposed to be for use for his family get-togethers, but he hardly in 2 years used it for that purpose. Now he said that he wants to use it for short-term rental to help pay for his expenses. That property was way overpriced in comparison to other houses on our block, yet he didn't mind to pay that price. Now he's trying to recover expenses to pay his bills. I think that's unethical. Mr. Bass is telling us that neighbors are creating scenarios that don't exist. But isn't he the one that's creating that? He doesn't live here, so he doesn't care about neighbors that have to deal with everyday hardships and joys in this area. For him, it's all about income. He's trying to change the feel of small town neighborhood. This is supposed to be single family area and not business district. It will devalue our properties, not to mention the noise, traffic, and other things that can happen in 5 to 6 bedroom house. He can rent up to 12 people at a time. I'm sure that people that have motels and resorts in this area can use renters for their business too, that he will take away. So I ask respectfully the mayor, the councilman and woman to honor the vote they took on May 19 against the short-term rental. I don't know what has changed the mind of this body from then to now, but doing the right thing is always the best way. Otherwise, your words are dishonest and cannot be taken seriously. Thank you for giving me the time and listening to my concerns and my neighbors, and vote against short-term rentals in our home, in our area. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments? Please. On agenda items only.
My name is Pat Flecker, and I own the properties at 217A Oakwood Avenue and the lot at 219 Oakwood Avenue. And I'm here in support of Mary's comments. I'm not going to reiterate what has been discussed in the past, but I would like to bring up a few things. Number one, with the Airbnb or a short-term rental, typically you have a host that is in the area and on site so that you can respond to whatever needs that those individuals may have as they're using your property. So I guess one of my questions would be, is there going to be a host in the area to respond to those issues that may come up as people are renting it? And then another question I have is from an insurance perspective, and unfortunately, that's my background, so I'm kind of into that. From an insurance perspective, is the appropriate insurance in place? A typical homeowner's policy will not respond to Airbnbs. So you just need to be assured that the proper mechanisms are in place from an insurance perspective. And then one last item is, if this were in your neighborhood, would you be voting for approval or denial? Thank you. And then one other item, not involving this, but it is on the agenda, is I see there's a resignation from Becky, and I would just like to thank you on behalf of a lot of citizens for the job that you have done. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other public comment on please go ahead.
My name's Rose Riva, and I live at 209A Oakwood Avenue. And I spoke at the June meeting to address some of Mr.'s topics that he brought up. Since then, I have to say I was shocked when I opened up the newspaper to find out that the July meeting was going to be bringing this topic up again, because I really, really believed that you were going to honor your May 19th vote. And as some of the others have said, I don't know what came up to make a change. I did some reading also. I read that the ordinance was passed for short-term rentals in October of 2024, and not all these council people partook in that vote to have short-term rentals. And my question came up, and I don't know about ordinances, Attorney Barry, you could probably even really answer this one quickly. But when a city did an ordinance for short-term rentals, were all the residents of the city informed that we could have a public vote, like when the vote went up to change the form of government here in Oglesby? And it was an astounding no vote that was done on that. So I was just curious as to why an ordinance for short-term rentals, that the approval, we don't have the whole community's voice on this. We went around, and we have petitions. We went around in the neighborhood. Now, we only canvassed our immediate neighborhood: Oakwood, behind me on Oakwood, and Caitlin Court, because Oakwood Avenue is one of the streets that is an entrance and exit for Caitlin Court. There's another one off on Sunset, but that's it. Caitlin Court's its own little block there. And we have over 50 families that said absolutely not. They do not want this in the neighborhood. And so I'm kind of I was really impressed that that number was so high. Out of all the homes that people answered the doors, only one gentleman was confused. I only met one who said, I'm not 100% sure what a short-term rental is. So he said, I can't sign that. And I thought, well, that's good, because you shouldn't sign something that if you're not familiar or you don't know. But you have over 50 families here, 65 signatures that are saying, not in our neighborhood. And I think Mary mentioned it when she was here prior to me. Mary said the same thing. Would you want it in your neighborhood? And we brought that up in May. If this was the house next door to you, or your children or your grandchildren are playing, would you want that? Because there are some negatives about short-term rentals. Yes, you're going to have some noise and traffic. That's going to increase. And it's not going to be the traffic of your neighbor who you see leaving for work and you wave to them when they drive by and they wave back at you. No, you're not going to know these people. You could have misbehavior. That we brought that up in June. Both of us did. He mentioned he would have his rules, and I said, well, how do you enforce rules if you're not here? Is that going to be left to the local resources then? Will your police department have to be called every time there's a disruption or a disagreement? That's another issue. There's also the issue of housing. We talked to Coldwell Banker, one of them is on our petition list. She did say to the same on the devalue of our property. I did talk to a Janko representative. He said the same thing to me. It can devalue the property value. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, there's a lot of negative issues here. Now, I'm not gonna argue that there isn't a growth in some areas, and I mentioned it in an email that I sent to all of you that are seated up here as council members, that yes, there is a growth in short-term rentals in mountain regions and coastal regions, in areas that can provide all types of mixed entertainment. But when I moved here 5 years ago, I moved here because it's a bedroom community. I feel safe here. I feel happy here. I really don't want to, I didn't want to invest in a neighborhood that's going to have short-term rentals. I wouldn't have done that. So I'm really, really hoping that you honor your vote that you took. You continue to vote. And I'm not looking for you to present any type of compromise on the issue, because then you're in a gray area. And as a former instructor, I sort of taught my students it's black or white. Many times it's got to be black or white. A gray is a no area. There's nothing of substance when you vote in a gray area or you take a gray area stance. So there's one last issue on a negative. I gave you 4 of them already. The last one is community cohesion. And community cohesion is extremely important in a neighborhood because you know those people that live next door to you. You know when they're, oh, hey, I'm going on vacation. Will you keep an eye on my house? Oh, hey, you know what? We might have a couple extra cars here. We're celebrating a birthday party. You know when somebody in your neighborhood has a new baby. You know when someone in your neighborhood passes away. And neighborhood cohesion holds that together. I don't want to see the change in the dynamics of the neighborhood I'm in, because I am in that kind of neighborhood where people look up. Remember the derecho? We all have to remember that. That was my first year. I go, oh my God, does Oglesby always have winds like that? And they go, oh no, this is unusual. But you know what I learned? I learned that the neighbors, they came around and helped clean up our block. This block that I walked around and got the signatures for. That's the kind of neighborhood we have, and that's the kind of neighborhood we want to keep. And we can only do that if you support the 50-some families here that are saying, please, no, not in our neighborhood, and not one family that is looking to make $1. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments on agenda items only? Go ahead, please.
Good evening. While some may worry that short-term rentals could reduce home values, the data does not support this concern. Ottawa, Illinois currently hosts around 150 active short-term rental listings. Peru has about 80 to 90 short-term rentals. North Utica has about 30 to 40. There are also some in Tonica, LaSalle, and Strader. Yet in these cities, there is no local data or appraisal evidence showing any decline in property values linked to short-term rental activity. In fact, recent market data shows steady or rising home prices in these areas. Zillow reports Ottawa home values rose 8.5% over the past year, further confirming no negative impact. Moreover, there are studies across the US which are all peer-reviewed and they are all published that have consistently found that short-term rentals have a neutral or slightly positive effect on nearby property values. A recent study in 2024 showed that an extra short-term rental within 300 meters raised home prices by 0.35%. It's not a lot. Like I said, it's usually neutral or slightly positive. I would also like to talk about the direct benefits to the city of Oglesby for short-term rentals. Oglesby has a 5% short-term rental tax, and this means that short-term rentals will generate city revenue every time a guest books to stay, without raising taxes on residents. These funds help support vital services like police, fire, road maintenance, or local beautification projects and these additional funds would come from visitors, not residents. There will also be economic boost to local businesses. According to estimates, guests spend about $264 for every $100 in lodging. So assuming there is a short-term rental income of $10,000 annually, that's an estimated $26,400 in economic activity for Oglesby shops, restaurants, and services. Money that might go otherwise to neighboring towns. Number 3, micro job creation. Opening a short-term rental supports local workers, including house cleaners, landscapers, and handymen. According to a 2023 Economic Impact Report, short-term rental activity supports over 1 million jobs nationwide. And lastly, we will be promoting Oglesby as a travel destination. Currently, most guests visiting Starved Rock stay in Utica or Ottawa. Our listing will help our city become more visible to regional and national travelers, and not just a pass-through city. It fills a gap in the local lodging market that traditional hotels can't meet. In summary, our proposed short-term rental is an opportunity to welcome visitors, support the local economy, generate tax revenue, and promote Oglesby as a destination. We're committed to doing so responsibly, respectfully, and in full partnership with the city. To answer some of the questions that were raised earlier, is we purchased the property in September 2023, and since then we have spent holidays in our home in Oglesby. We spent Christmases, New Year's, and Thanksgiving. We celebrated my mother's birthday there last year. Last 4th of July weekend, my wife and my friends, we were there. So we go there, but like I said, we're not there all the time. So we were hoping to use it as short-term rental. We purchased the property in September 2023, but we only applied for a permit like this year. This was only the time that we decided to do it, and we said, why not? But like I said, we will respect the decision of the city. We do have the appropriate insurance for that. It's one of the specific requirements of the city before we were made to apply. The checklist that we had to go through, it was 3 pages. We had to go through all of them. We had requirements for the exterior of the property. There are certain requirements on the interior, lights, ventilation, the plumbing system, electrical system, heating system. There's also requirements on fire safety and others. So that's why that we have to assure everyone that the property will always be in good condition, because this is the requirement of the city. The power is with the council. If there is a violation on our part, you are free to revoke the license. So, but we would like to ask for the opportunity to give us the chance to operate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So my name
Yep, I hear you.
my name is Annie Basa, co-owner of 125 Oakwood Avenue in Oglesby. I'm the executive director of Healthcare Plus Senior Care, and what we do is we serve seniors 60 years old above with free home. We provide them with free homemaker services. Right now, we serve about 6,500 seniors, and we also applied here in counties, the South, Putnam, and Bureau, so Oglesby is part of it. So my son, Jared Basa, is a lawyer. He is our legal counsel and the chief of human resource in our company. Having said that, we will not do anything that will harm the community, because we are also a part of the community. Rest assured that we will scrutinize our guests, because if there is a person, a group of persons that will be truly concerned, is us, the Basa family. Remember, this is our house. Of course, we will see to it that our guests are responsible. We'll take care of our house, and will fully follow all the rules and regulations we have in place. Foremost is to observe the quiet hours. Please give us a chance. It will not only benefit us, but the city of Oglesby as well, because of the taxes we will pay, the restaurants, gas stations, local shopping centers, and other businesses in the area. The mayor can easily stop our license if he will not follow the rules and regulations. Let us just give this a try. I don't want to think of any negative thoughts because the village accepted one Airbnb just recently. And why not us? We followed all the rules and regulations that are imposed, and we filed it here. So I don't see any reason why we will not be approved. Approved or not, thank you so much. And if ever it will not be approved, at least we tried, hoping we'll also get a return smile from everyone. Because last time, I knocked one of the doors and introduced myself in Oglesby, and I was just told that they don't want to talk to any stranger. I'm introducing myself, so that's why I introduce myself now. So let us, once again, let us just give it a try. We can make it at least 3 times every quarter, most probably. And if you failed, if you violated any rules, you can always terminate our license. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.
My name is Celine Cozart. I live on Sunset Boulevard. I'm kind of new to this topic,
Thank you.
and I'm a little confused.
Thank you.
Had good statistics. Why do we have to be like Oglesby, Utica, and Peru? If I was a home buyer, a potential home buyer, that would be a selling point for me, is the fact that we don't have that here, that you don't have to worry about that happening. The other thing I'm a little concerned about is you said about seeing if it works. Once you vote on this, isn't it just set? No? You can change your mind because it wasn't set to the voters, like to the citizens of Oglesby? Like, what if this were to be put on the ballot and everyone was to have a say of it? I think that would be a little more fair than quick meetings that you barely have enough time to prepare for, because I think it's a little more serious than you think. And my other thing is, because I was in marketing for many years, if this is what you have to do to bring more people to Oglesby to spend money, then you're doing something wrong, real wrong. You shouldn't have to do this. You ought to be able to attract people to this town without kind of making your current citizens sacrifice or even if I'm sure your intentions are well. We're not saying anything you want to do is bad. I understand where you're coming from, but you can understand where we're coming from, that we like it the way it is, and that's why we bought here, and that we like it the way it is here. And if it's going to change, we'd like the majority of citizens to be able to say something about it. So thank you for your time. I hadn't planned to say anything, but I was inspired by people's comments that were made. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments on agenda items? Please.
Good evening. As you all, I'm Jim Clinard. I live in the neighborhood. I'm also a member of the Plan Commission. I just want to clear up a few things here. The Plan Commission.
Jim, can you speak into the microphone?
On the Plan Commission, and the Plan Commission met to discuss this. It was a public advertised meeting. There were several meetings that the council discussed it, modified the rules. So this isn't a just bang, throw it out on the table. And it's not the kind of thing that the entire community votes on. And then when they were discussing maintaining the property like that, I heard some grumbles in the audience saying, well, yeah, right now. Well, what you don't know unless you read the ordinance is that there's an inspection the first year, and there's an inspection every year thereafter. All right? So if they violate something, there's a fine. $250 for the first one, $250 for the second one, $500 for the third one, $750 for the fourth one, and with the fourth one, their license is automatically suspended for 14 days until there's a hearing. So the Plan Commission and the council set up a process to protect the community and neighborhoods, all right? As far as traffic goes, that isn't just local traffic. There's the pond back there, it's a park. There are tens, maybe hundreds of people every day that use that park, that walk, I live on that street, my house backs up to it.
Come on,
Anyway,
let's give him his time to talk.
so there are people you don't know at that park every day. So it's no different having one family there every month or so, all right? So I think that the council built in protections for the community. As far as resources of the community, this home won't have school-aged children, right? So the schools will get the benefit of the tax dollars without, again, right, without having to provide education to those students. And like he said, there's additional taxes they have to pay. The traffic that this house will cause is nothing compared to what it's gonna take to maintain the roads. A single truck creates a 900 times the impact of a car, so it's not that big a deal. I think that's all I have for now.
Okay. Please go ahead.
I'm not a great public speaker, but I was a high school teacher over LP with special needs kids, but I'll just go off the cuff. I live adjacent to the property at Heritage Gardens, which has about 25 townhomes there, and most of the people are elderly and have moved there because they want it to be peaceful. They don't want a weekend party place, which that could be what Airbnbs become. There are people who have children, and there's a playground, and we don't know who's coming and going at an Airbnb. We have neighbors, we know who they are, but I think that could be a big issue. There's an old pool above the ground there that's probably 20 years old. The yard right now, there's weeds growing and it's not cut. Like everybody's saying how great it looks. My neighbors we spend $150 a month for Heritage Gardens to keep that immaculate, and everything's trimmed and on the park. And there are not hundreds of people coming to the park. There's people fishing. It's mellow. That's why I moved over here. And I've been there 20 years. It's right across from this place. No one's really stayed in that place because you've got 5 or 6 bedrooms there. And unfortunately, the yard is as big as this little space here in the back. And I don't see that being, if you get that many bedrooms filled with people, I don't know how many will be coming and rent there. There's motels right nearby if people want a place to stay. So when I look up Airbnb for Oglesby, it refers to Starved Rock, and those log cabin buildings are there, and or they show a house out in the woods, and then people will come and go to the park, and then they have a place that's peaceful. They're not in the neighborhood, which is zoned residential, and the old laws on the books were about no boarding houses. And I think that was like a primary law. I know Airbnb is a big thing right now. Everybody wants to find another way to pay their taxes. We're all paying for a townhome $3,200, and you're paying for your peace and quiet, and you're paying for your little community of 3,700 people, and we don't want to see maybe people coming out of Chicago. Who do we know who's coming there? You read things in the paper and online all the time. There's a lot of kids there. There's a fishing tournament. So those are some of my concerns. Plus property value. And I'm right there. I don't want to see that go down. And neither do my neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what is your name?
Gerald Bernabé.
Hi, Kathy Frederick. I don't know any of these people. The only reason I'm speaking on this subject is, to me, it's short-term rental. They could rent this house without any council approval to somebody year-round.
Yep.
And believe me, I know, because I had one years ago next to me, and we had nothing but trouble. And then we had one across, and I know the house because it was my mother's. We sold it to somebody. They rented it
The police were in our neighborhood more than they ever were. Short-term rental, I would have loved it, because then they're gone. After a week or two, they're gone out of the neighborhood. You could have somebody rent a house next to you, to the devil himself, and there's nothing you can do about it. So to me, short-term rental is the way to go, because they're there and they're gone, and if they did cause trouble, they're not gonna rent it to them again. And I don't know any of these people, but I know what it's like to have a couple of people in the neighborhood who've made the life of the people in the neighborhood hell for what we had to go through. And now thankfully they're all gone, but we had them for like 4 or 5 years right next to us, and it was terrible. And the police had come and they'd talk to them, and that would, you know, and pretty soon they're at it again, and you can't have the police live there next to you. So I'm thinking, I would love to have had that house next to me be short-term rental, because then they'd be gone after a week. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments on agenda items only? If not, we will move on. Number 5, approve minutes from the July 7th, 2025 regular session. If there's no additions, corrections, or modifications, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. Number 6, approve bills presented for payment in the amount of $650,725.01. If there's no additions, corrections, or modifications, can I get a motion to approve the bills?
I move we approve the bills presented for payment in the amount of $650,725.01. Second.
Roll call, please.
Thanks.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. Number 7, approve payroll for July 18th, 2025 in the amount of $130,310.74. If there's no additions, corrections, or modifications, can I get a motion to approve the payroll?
The payroll's a little bit higher this meeting than it has been at previous meetings due to a number of not specifically payroll things being in it. I mean, there's union dues, there's this, there's that. So there's things in this there's things in this payroll that were not in previous payrolls. So that's why it's higher. It's about $50,000 when those things are included higher. So I move we approve the payroll for July 21st, 2025 in the amount of $130,310.74.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Okay.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. Number 8, approve ordinance number 1292-072125, fiscal year 26 appropriations. I don't know if we want to rehash it all, but I'll go around the room if anybody has anything else they'd like to add to it. We talked about it in detail last time. Cullen?
Well, I didn't talk about it in good enough detail. I kind of didn't have my thoughts organized, and I sounded kind of stupid. So I'm going to kind of just summarize for everybody. So appropriations is our legal authority to spend money. Our budget is setting our individual priorities on how to spend that money. Talking to Clerk Clinard, the previous precedent has been to simply budget what the city has appropriated, as it's hard to go through each line item and decide what to cut and how much to cut it, to do a 3% cut across the board, or to go line item by line item and decide how much less money are we going to spend here than we have the legal authority to spend. The general fund last year in fiscal year 25, looking at appropriations, was projected to break even, but it incurred a loss of $486,000. This is largely due to us not transferring money from the electric department and water and sewer to the general fund. It simply wasn't feasible because we took delivery on a piece of electrical infrastructure a year early, which now we won't have to pay this year, of course, so that's good for us. And then also we were trying to put money away for the wastewater treatment plant in our Fund 61. This year, in fiscal year 26, if you look at the appropriations, the general fund is projected to run a $300,000 deficit if we spend every dollar we have appropriated, but hopefully there's less surprises. We're currently sitting at, I believe, 1.7 million-ish in the general fund. If this if this becomes an issue over the next year or so, continues to be an issue over the next year or so, as I've mentioned before, we have the ability to increase the sales tax 0.5% and be in line with our neighbors. And then that would raise another $200,000 in revenue annually that will go to the general fund. So that's just my clarification from last meeting. So that's all I have.
Moyle?
I have nothing to add.
McDermott?
I don't have anything to add either.
Aldridge? All right, I don't have anything else to add. I mean, obviously, we've talked about rising costs quite a bit. We've talked, I think, Commissioner Cullinan put out a good plan of that we have options when it comes to the wastewater treatment plant. That's obviously the biggest thing. If somebody were to look at this and compare it to other years, you're gonna, why does it say something like 42 million in there instead of 17 million? Right? Well, that's because of the wastewater treatment plant, the way debits, credits work. It looks like it's a very large number, but in reality, we're gonna be getting a loan for that, and then we're getting the asset on board with trying to make purchases for our wastewater treatment plant. So it's really not as steep as people are really thinking about it, though. So, because in case you pull it to take a look at it or something like that, you're gonna see a really big number and go, wow, that's crazy. So, all right, if there's no other further comments or questions, can I get a motion to approve the appropriations ordinance?
I move that we approve ordinance number 1292-072125, fiscal year 26 appropriations.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. Number 9, old business. A, short-term rental application for 125 Oakwood Avenue. I don't have who necessarily put it on here for, but I'll tell you what, I'll take the first hit, I guess. I can start talking about it. So I really do appreciate all the comments that we heard today. I completely understand what some of the residents feel. I do think this is a more complicated topic on a couple things. First thing I want to talk about is I do love living in black and white areas if I can. I like the idea that rules and regulations can be black and white. However, there are a lot of things in this world that are gray, and sometimes you got to make decisions that you are in a gray area. For example, I don't think anybody's disagreeing that short-term rentals would be a great thing above a business district or in a multi-dwelling unit or something like that, because there is reasons to have people come to our town for a short term that can utilize those kinds of things. I think if you start getting into a family dwelling unit, single-family homes, it does come a little more complicated. I think it does become gray. You know, so I saw this note that went out to all the people to sign petitions, and I look at them, and some of them I completely disagree with, and like number one, increased noise and traffic. I don't think that to be a true thing, because you're not creating more people living there than would already normally live there or something. Number 3, strain on local resources. I don't know if there's any evidence to show that there's more ambulance needs or more police needs necessarily for a short-term rental. And then the other ones, potential for disruptive behavior, decrease in housing availability, loss of community cohesion. I find those to be very opinionated things. You know, Kathy made a mention of short-term versus long-term. My thoughts were that when you talk about community cohesion, your community is as great as your neighbors are. Now, I'm very fortunate where I live. I got somebody across the street from me, behind me, and to the side of me. They are amazing people, and I absolutely love them. That wasn't always the case, though. You know, before our last neighbor behind us, they're gone. They're completely out of the area now. They were not good neighbors. So your neighbor really, it depends on how good of a neighbor you have, right? So I think that's kind of a wash there. It's the same thing that she stated with long-term or short-term. They don't need permission from the city to rent out a long-term, they want to rent their house out. They don't need permission for that. And the amount of work that the Plan Commission and some of the council members put forth for the rules and regulations for the short-term rental were very steep. There is a lot more rules and regulations on those homes than your own home. For example, if you don't have the smoke detectors working in your bedrooms in your house, the city's not coming down to your house to kick you out of your house to say you're not allowed to live there anymore, right? But in a short-term rental, that's one of the many provisions that if you didn't have, you wouldn't have your license. So I could go on and on and on. Again, it is in a gray area, I think, and that's why one of the things that the last meeting that we talked about was there was other options for single family homes, that if you wanted to do a different measure, like maybe limit them more times out of the year or something like that to make it more of a true offset or something like that. We talked about that. I think at the time the council thought instead we wanted to put it back up for a vote, because I truly do believe that the rules that we have out there for this stuff are so strict that if there was even a single violation, this council could come and say, we're pulling their license right now. And on top of that, let's say they do the entire year. They might not have had a single violation, but if this council, for any reason, we don't even have to give a reason. Let's say we didn't like what kind of cars they had in their driveway. Let's say they're a bunch of Fords and we have Chevy people. We don't have to give a reason. We could say, nope, the community's looked at it, we don't like it, for whatever reason, we've given ourselves that ability of that kind of authority. I do agree that if there was hundreds and hundreds of these in the city, that is a problem, right? Because then you're substituting long-term residents and growth and children and all kinds of stuff like that because of the housing availability. I don't see that happening. Now, to me, I think if it's a good area and we're really strict on how they have to do all the requirements, I don't think it's a problem. I really don't. But that's my 2 cents, and really it's up to the council. And I do agree that when this was approved, there was 2 less council members here, so they didn't get an opportunity to make their opinion when it was getting approved. But I mean, you can make that argument about any council, right? You know, when any council gets involved, you have ordinances and rules and regulations that were approved before you that you have to kind of carry out unless you're going to make a modification to them. So I know this is a relatively new thing. A lot of our neighbors around us are doing it. I don't know if I have not heard any major issues or major problems yet. If that does come up, we can always adjust. But I'll let everybody else talk, so that way I took the brunt of it, I'm sure. So, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, so my position on this hasn't changed from the last meeting. I'm open to exploring that gray area, but as of right now, with how the ordinance is written, I'm a hard no. I don't necessarily, looking at the list, I would kind of agree with you, Jason. I'm not really sure if 1, 2, 3 are a major issue, but for me, the major issues are 4 and 5. I don't like the idea of people, and I'm not saying Mr. Bassa did this at all. I'm sure he fought it with the best of intentions, and I'm sure he uses it, his family uses it, whatever. But down the road, I don't like the idea of people speculatively buying property to make money off of them in the form of short-term rentals. And so, as I suggested at the last meeting, I think if you capped the number of days that a guest could stay at 30 days for somebody who's an Airbnb or VRBO owner, who doesn't live in the city, they're a non-resident, I guess I wouldn't really have a problem with that. And I wouldn't really have an issue with a resident being able to Airbnb their house if they were comfortable with doing that, which I don't think most people would, but maybe some people would. It's their property. I wouldn't have an issue giving them more days to rent it out. But I think right now, I'm sympathetic to the argument that we ultimately have control over how many of these we authorize, but I think once the toothpaste is out of the tube, you know, it's kind of difficult, right? Because then it becomes, well, no, one more is not going to hurt. One more is not going to hurt. And why'd he get it? And why'd I not get it? And it just becomes, it's like I said, it's a Pandora's box, I believe. And so, unless there's some willingness to compromise on this, especially with the petition that was circulated. I mean, you had 60-some signatures on it, and I don't think this is as, not to get into the city manager type of thing in the petition that was circulated there, but I think that this is a more cut and dry issue than that. I think that was a much more complex issue. I think the people who signed that petition probably have a pretty decent understanding of what a short-term rental is. So I think we're kind of, in my view, I think we're obligated to ultimately either revisit the ordinance and revise it, or ultimately just continue to reject these. But that's my opinion.
Okay. Just one point of clarification. One point you made, I specifically asked the attorney when you talked about setting a precedence, like why you would be able to allow somebody to deny somebody. I did ask that question because that was a concern of mine, and the answer was that we have absolutely any right to deny anybody else for any reason.
I'm not worried about legally speaking precedent. I think it becomes kind of political at some point, and then you'll get people bickering back and forth about.
I get it. Hillary?
My position hasn't changed either, like I said in the last couple meetings. I do agree that my biggest concern is the decrease in housing availability, which I know we have the authority to determine how many are gonna be there or in the area. I just know the current struggles that I had trying to find a house here, because the market moved so fast. I had to put in an offer within hours of it even opening in order to even get the house. My mom had to find a house that wasn't even on the market yet in order to secure housing here in Oglesby. The market moves fast. And I think, like Austin said, once you start tipping the iceberg on this, it's only gonna get more and more people who are interested in making profit off of it. And it's not gonna be the homes really probably in your guys' neighborhood. It's gonna be the little homes in my neighborhood. It's gonna, and like you said, I don't want them as a neighbor. I would prefer a family.
Okay. Matt?
Well, I agree. We all want a family we all want the pleasant family. But if somebody rents one for a year, we don't know if we get it or not, okay? We don't require people that are renting a house for like 5 years to come in and tell us who's renting it, their job qualifications and everything else. The rental, the Airbnb, the issue I have is, how can you judge one, not the other? I understand everybody's views and everything else. I've been a resident for over 30 years. I have a home that we've been living in for 23 years. I share concern with property value. I know the council has looked at it. A couple of years, probably a good thing to review it and rehash it out. I've also heard from a citizen that maybe we should open it up to the city to actually vote yes or no. I personally don't think that's a bad idea. We all have different views. I understand that. I just don't know how you can say no to one and yes to another. I do know that with the Airbnb, they're more restricted. I mean, they could have a guy or somebody here for one day, and we could pull their license. We don't have any specific reasons as to why. It's more restricted, actually. There's more guidelines that they have to follow. But I would look forward into revamping it, or let's let the citizens of Oglesby decide after we've written it out, does everybody agree to this? I know we've already accepted one, and that may affect that one as well. But any route we go, we've already been committed to one. We previously denied him, and I'll be honest, I only heard from the other side when we voted the last time. And I did make the comment, why are we turning this down? You could look in the past and you'll see it in the past council meetings. You gotta have structure as to why you're approving it and why you're not. But if everybody'd be agreeing to take it to the city after we go ahead and revamp it, let the city vote on it.
Rich?
That's it.
Yeah, that would require
I know what it requires.
put on the ballot. That would require a referendum, just like that went on there in April. One thing I guess I hadn't really thought about was what Ms. Fredericks had said, is that you can't choose your neighbors when it's rented out long-term. I never thought of it that way, but I think I've heard a lot more stories of long-term renters that are, like she said, put you through hell. And we can't do anything to them at all at this point. There's nothing we could do other than file charges against them, have the cops keep coming out there. Some go through eviction notices and everything. With this here, I truly believe with all the time and effort we put into this, that we thought of mostly everything. And we admitted at the time that we passed it, that there were gonna be things that we encountered that were not thought of, and we would address them immediately. And we were grateful to have a small council in a small town that we could come here and immediately take care of any problems that have arisen from that.
I still feel confident in that. As Mr. Clinard said, there was some concerns as to the neighbors coming and going and how many, and he mentioned that the park was right there, and I've been to the park many times. There are a lot of people. We can't restrict them either. They're coming and going, I think, till 10 o'clock at night. The park's supposed to close or something. We can't restrict any of those people. So I can't really see a valid reason because people are coming and going. So that's all I have.
I agree with that analysis. The only other thing I'd say is, another good point is, and just take this as the alternative. So let's say the family that bought that home, they wanted to be here 1, 2, 3 weeks out of the year with their family, and the rest of the time their plan was to rent it out. What if by denying them the short-term rental, that model doesn't make sense for them then to just have it here for that long then, for just the 2 or 3 weeks that they would use it out of the year. So then instead, they do, that's a great point, I never even thought about this, is instead they say, well, you know what? The only way we can make money on it or even come out even is we're just gonna rent that out year round, to renters. Again, the city has no control over that at all, right? Whether that's a good person or a bad person or whoever, and they're not necessarily invested in this community, like somebody that would own the property and things like that. I just think this way is the city actually has a bit of control. They have all these restrictions on them to make sure the property's maintained, it's clean. And not only that, I mean, not that this should be the driving force of anything, but I mean, the city does make some more money on that too. I'm not saying this should be a sole money driver, but I do think of it as an economic opportunity here. And again, if there is an issue with it, we can always address it. Okay, everybody's talked once. Does anybody want to talk about it again? Open floor?
Yeah, so I think as far as renters are concerned, I think the long-term rental market, I don't think we can just necessarily apply, we're kind of suggesting perhaps that, long-term renters are maybe not people that we necessarily want to be around. I feel like, and maybe that's the case in some circumstances. Obviously, it was the case in Mrs. Frederick's case. But I will say, though, as far as the renters are concerned, if they are indeed renting the property, they're going to be invested likely in the community. They're going to be working locally so they can pay the rent to, I would think that they'd be, unless, they're a trust fund maybe or something like that. But, they're going to be working locally. So, I mean, that helps the local labor force. They're likely, they might serve on a city board. They might volunteer as part of, a civic organization. You have people who are going to be here full time and be invested in the community. And so I am sympathetic as well to kind of the point that's made there. But I like the idea of long-term renters, just the right ones, obviously. And I mean, obviously, that's how you go about making sure that, you have the best renters available. I don't know, but I would assume the landlords, though, and obviously Mr. Basta has done, admittedly, he's done everything right. I think, he's a very responsible property owner. I doubt that he would rent that house out to a bunch of undesirables. So, especially because of the cost he might incur as a result of it. With that being said, I also think that most of the houses that go on the market are probably going to be purchased by people who want to own a home and not necessarily purchased by people who are looking to rent them out. I think that's something else to consider. And as far as Mac's suggestion and the suggestion of one other person in here about leaving this up to the people, I will say, even though I am opposed to allowing any short-term rentals under the current parameters established by ordinance, because of the reasons I've outlined, I will say, and this is maybe me pontificating about something unrelated, but I will say I don't think that's a good idea. We aren't a pure democracy. We're a republic. We elect representatives for a reason. If we voted on every single issue, we'd be a direct democracy, and government would become incredibly cumbersome. So I don't agree with that. I don't think unrelated and not to open old wounds, but I don't think the city manager's thing should have been a referendum either. It should have been a council discussion, but that's my stance on that, so.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I'd just like to clarify, there was a lot of speculation here made by you.
Yeah.
I'd just like to clarify that I don't believe anybody here in this room has had any problem with long-term renters or don't want them coming to our city. I do wanna make that clear. We have no problem with them. We were speculating,
Yeah.
just as you were speculating, that there could be big parties or anything going there, and, we're, again, able to address those problems. We believe we put forth a great effort, and, we'd like to see how it works. If it doesn't work, he's done. Mr. Bassa, I can tell you that if it is passed, that it would, you're on you got at least 65 people, they're gonna be watching you closely. And if you were to do something, or someone else that you've rented to, that's your responsibility, and it will be yanked quickly. So, I just wanted to let you know that, that's all.
I hear what you're saying.
I
I hate to
agree.
even say something like that, because you haven't done anything wrong, and it's already,
Yeah.
you're already on a short leash, and you haven't done a single thing wrong yet. It's crazy. Okay, so what we have on here is we have the address on here, so we could take a vote to reconsider that, or we could take a different direction if we wanted to. So I'll entertain any motion that anybody wants to do.
Make a motion to reconsider the short-term rental permit and to pass that 125 over.
Okay?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Give it a shot.
Baldridge,
Aye.
Cullinan,
No.
McDermott,
Aye.
Moyle,
Nay. No.
Curran.
Yes. Okay. Well, congratulations, Mr. Bassa. You're officially approved, but you're on a very short leash, I would say. So, I feel terrible. I feel like you've been threatened and you've never done anything wrong. But I hope it works out very well, and if it doesn't, obviously, it's something that the council would probably be addressing, immediately.
And thanks
So,
for the
all right.
other residents, keep track and Karen.
Okay. All right. Number 10, new business. 8, request from Starved Rock Runners for Turkey Trot. I don't know who, I think I put this on here. So, Starved Rock Runners, I put both of them on there. This is the annual Turkey Trot. It's a wonderful thing. Anyone wants to make a comment on it? We can go around the room.
I also agree. It's a wonderful thing.
Wonderful thing. Hillary?
I love the turkey trot, so I look forward to it every year.
Mac?
I just wish I could run it.
Rich?
I wish I could run it too, but I remember it all the way back
go.
when I was a kid, and I
Yeah.
think it brings good things to our city.
You know what?
Absolutely.
I have one regret with the Turkey Trot. It is the only day of the year that I have never been inside the city, because both of our family members are still alive, so we still travel for Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day outside the area.
I'll tell you what, every year, it's my tradition with my kids, we stand outside and wave at all the runners. So I will take a video for you and send it.
Oh, I've
It
had-
is so cool.
Yeah, and the iPad again. You can wave from the iPad.
There you go.
Well, you can.
So
Hand out
someday, once we take over the hosting of the Thanksgiving, then I'll get to experience it though. So, all right, if there's no other thing else, if we can get a motion to approve the Starved Rock Runners for their Turkey
I'll
Trot.
make a motion to approve the Starved Rock Runners for Turkey Trot.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge,
Aye.
Cullinan,
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Moyle,
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. B, solicitor's permit applications. My understanding that I read the solicitor's permit, this was an application for somebody that wants to sell books and encyclopedias door to door. Is that
Yes.
accurate?
I thought we.
Okay. I'll go around the room if anybody wants to make comments first, or you want me to take that punch first as well?
You can take the punch first.
Sure. We've talked about this, and when it comes to being able to go around, to authorizing people to go door to door, I think it should be a very short list of things that the city wants to be able to support. We live in a day and age now where the internet's at people's fingertips and stuff like that. There's very few things. The only one I can really possibly think about was when we did, like, for example, Surf Internet, because we kind of sponsored the idea of allowing fiber internet to come, so we want them to have the opportunity to be successful. Other than that, though, boy, oh boy, that should be a real short list. I have not had any residents come up to me. I had a lot of residents come up to me about a lot of different things, and not one of them's ever been, Boy, Jason, I really just wish there was somebody coming to my door that would teach me how to sell me some encyclopedias or books. I'd really like that. So I don't see there's a lot of value in it, but that's just my opinion. Okay, I'll go around with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to agree with you there, but I do know, I saw recently that Peru did approve something similar, not to talk about what other towns are doing, because I obviously don't agree with other towns' approaches to short-term rentals. But with that being said, I did see Peru did something similar, and I don't know, it actually might be the same guy, I'm not sure. But I have seen and heard people who have had positive experiences with these people, but I also kind of agree. I do think it should be a pretty short list. So, I mean, I'm open to whatever, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
So
I'm going to agree. I don't feel strongly about this one way or another. Actually, there was someone who sold us encyclopedias in Oglesby when I was a kid. It came to our door. So this has happened before.
Was the internet existing back then?
No.
Then there's value.
Well, there might be value today too, because the
could
internet's
be.
a cesspool. So,
But so again, I don't think it would be different if there was like requests 10s or 15 of them or something like that, but this is just one solicitor.
Okay. All right. Matt?
I don't think we need this. We have the internet. I don't think this is something that would be in high demand.
Okay.
Not something that's really thought out, so I'd say no.
Rich?
I feel it should be limited to something that would be more appropriate for everybody. I don't see the need for the books to be sold door to door really. So, and as long as he was asking for it sometime in September, I don't feel the constituents of the city want to be bothered with someone not going to. It's really easy to get on the internet and order whatever you want.
Yeah, so it sounds like one person might have been for it here, but my thoughts is whatever we take a vote on, if they're denied, like anybody, if anybody's denied for a solicitor permit and they haven't come to the council yet, I would welcome them to come and pitch the idea of why they think there's value to be able to have the right to go to people's doorsteps to ask them for a product or
I
something
think
like
that's
that.
fair.
So, can we get a motion to either approve or deny then, the solicitor application?
Make a motion to deny the solicitor's permit application.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
Abstain. I don't care either way.
She's looking for more. She's looking for more
Curran.
encyclopedias. Aye. C. Place on file well number 3 VFD McDermott.
Okay, what we got is, we had the previous price of $54,623.88. There's a proposal for an upgrade for our wells. This will give us a secondary reliability, okay? It's $43,846.09. Naturally, there's quite a bit of difference. But the $43,846.09 give us that second reliability, and it's an upgrade. And that's,
Could you update us what this is? I really, I'm sorry,
Well-
I really don't know what this is right now.
it's for the, well, I could let Lance talk, or I could do it. Lance, you're more.
Is it
you're
for a
more
variable pump
experienced.
drive? Another?
So if you remember, I think you were commissioner when we did
Yep,
the well.
we had to redo them, and there was a pump that was bad, and we replaced it.
Yeah, so we went over budget on that because we had to do repiping.
Yep.
Motor, everything.
Yep.
We were gonna do drive at that time, went over, so we put it all. So there's a soft start that's currently in there. This is a very low speed drive, so we can ramp it down some to, match what is at the water plant on our high service pump, which makes the well run longer, which is better.
Mhm.
It also has a secondary, so if the drive was to fail, we can still run that well. Currently, if that soft start were to fail, we can't run it without doing something, which would take a month or two to get.
And that's with the price of the $54,600.
This would just be for well 3. Well 4 would have to be done until that well needs to be replaced. That's a line shaft. We would put submersible in there, but that one's very well defined, everything. This is just better reliability, more efficient.
So let me ask this question then, ask it this way. What is our impact if we don't do this?
I shouldn't say nothing. Eventually, you'll need to replace it down the road.
Mhm.
It's
nothing.
It helps with the wear of the equipment, you're not wearing it because you're not constantly shutting it on and off. You'll actually match the speed necessary to produce enough water to match the treatment capacity of the plant. It's not pumping at a high rate, so that's to shut off periodically on and off. That's bad for equipment. You want the equipment to just run.
Remind me again, we run one well, like 2 weeks at a time, something like that? Is it-
Well, 2 weeks, but
2 weeks?
it
and you
runs for
rotate.
6-7 hours, shuts off for 3 or 4, turns back on.
Yep.
Along with the high service pump. This year, you're allowed to ramp it down so much, you can only go down so much on like maybe 52 versus at 60. So maybe we can get it to run 10 to 12 hours and then shut off for 3. The longer the well runs, the better. Like in Peru, they run 3 wells, they don't shut off. They're constant, and it's better for them.
You will get more life out of the equipment.
So you're saying by this upgrade, we will get more life out of that variable speed drive?
Yep.
Okay. Is that more life worth the 43,000 that you're looking to?
Well, 42,000 now, if you do it in 5,
Yeah.
8 years, it could be a lot.
Okay.
You know, I mean, just with everything,
No.
I'm not saying it will be.
No, I just wanted to
I
ask.
see stuff going.
Yeah.
This is pretty much industry standard with large
Got it.
motors.
Okay.
Type of equipment.
And well for what would be done, so down the road, so that well would actually have to be replaced.
Okay.
It's not like this is 3 and then in 2 years you're gonna get 4, because that's a completely different type of well.
Okay.
There you go, you heard it from the experts. That's, the one with more reliability is a 43,846.09. Or we could do the one for 54,623.88, and
No.
it's not, can't.
That's not quite accurate.
Oh,
So
okay.
what Mac is referring to.
Here it goes.
54 is the list one, so it is a pre-built Allen Bradley drive that weighs about 750 pounds on a panel, pre-built. If they were to piece it together with all separate components, they couldn't do it for that price, and the price is 43,000 and change, whatever it is. The 54 is the list price for the unit,
Got it.
so that's what that is.
Okay.
That's why you have the experts here.
With labor, installation, and the unit itself, if you have it on 60,000, I think that
Right.
change whatever.
Mhm.
Okay.
Originally.
We'll go to the room if anybody has any other questions. Rich?
We need it, we need it.
We more than need it.
What
Thanks.
else would do? Like you said, the price is most likely gonna go up.
It'll go.
Austin?
I agree with Rich. I also second what Max said about listening to the experts on this. I sure as hell don't know anything about this type of stuff. So if that's a suggestion of test and process kind of seconding that, I'm willing to move forward with it.
Right. Hillary?
Well, I agree. Lance told me about this earlier, and I'm not gonna lie, my face glazed over. I was like, if you think so, like, you know more. But he did mention something earlier, and maybe it's worth mentioning, and maybe I misunderstood this, that with the pump running more, it would dissipate some of the chlorine that's sedimented.
It'll help move the chlorine through the town a little better because that service pump will be running longer.
Mhm.
Without the off period of.
Mhm.
Because when the high service pump runs, the well is running, the chlorine that we have with the water can only run so well. It doesn't run on the high service pump. So the well running longer, the chlorine is just longer without stagnant time.
Okay.
And this here, there was another there's a mixer that will eventually be put in the reservoir to help with that chlorine. That price is a lot less than what was anticipated, so it kind of, the two pieces kind of are the same price, even though one's a little more and the other's a little less.
Okay. Excellent. Any other questions on anything?
And there is a 4-month lead time on this, so that would be us.
Okay.
Thanks, Lance.
Ready to make a
Okay.
motion?
Well, first I want to thank Lance and Ross for their expertise. I'd like to place on file well number 3, BFD.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. D, request from We Are Oglesby to hold a 5K race on September 13th, 2025. Again, I'm always impressed by We Are Oglesby, that they are always expanding upon the events and different things that they have going on in our city, and I'm always appreciative of that, seriously. Go around the room if anybody has any questions or any comments on it. Austin?
No, I'm obviously supportive of everything, of all the time and effort, long hours that We Are Oglesby puts into planning things for our city. I don't know a whole lot about the 5K, but I certainly I kind of echo what Mac and Rich said. I'm certainly not a runner either, and so I've never run a 5K. I don't really aspire to run a 5K, but I think it can certainly be something that brings people to town, and more programming that we have, the better. So,
Hillary.
I really like that they worked this into an event that we're already doing, the Boots, Brews, and Barbecue, to try and expand it out more than to one concentrated area, to make more of it a fun-filled event in the entire city. I also want to thank We Are Oglesby for reaching out with Police Chief Margus and Dan Kaspersky to make sure that the route was acceptable and that they reviewed and okayed it all.
Mac?
I agree. I want to thank them for reaching out. Already got everything approved. I'm just glad to see another race. Always glad for whatever We Are Oglesby are doing. I appreciate them, and I'm all for it.
Rich?
I'd like to thank We Are Oglesby. They do a tremendous effort here in the city on putting us on the map, and I think this 5K could really turn into something great in the future as well, and I appreciate them trying this.
Yep. Anytime they want to expand on other events, it'd be hard pressed for us to not want to support it, in my opinion. So appreciate it. That being said, can we get a, I guess the request really should be to kind of shut down the street to hold it, but if I can get a motion to approve the 5K race on that day, that'd be wonderful.
Make a motion to approve the We Are Oglesby 5K race on September 13, 2025.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. E, accept the resignation of City Clerk Clinard. I just wanted to say that, you know, when we took over here for our administration, right, we were in a lot of trouble. We had a lot of financial difficulties and challenges to overcome, and I will always be super appreciative of Becky Clinard for being done. She already retired once, was out of the city business for 5 years, and decided to come back to really help us through all the struggles. Plus with her brilliance with different events, and I really appreciate all the help that she put forth with making a really great economic plan with our building incentive grant, our utility one, and then our the homeowner's tax credit refund one as well. So, and there's just so many other items. So I will always be appreciative of that, and I want to wish her the absolute best and a happy retirement. And hopefully we can still wrangle her to spend some time on some boards for us, because there is some boards opportunities. But we'll see. We'll go around the room. If anybody else has any comments before we accept. Austin?
Yeah, I have to say, Becky really is, it's really hard to overstate just how, yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say Becky is just a tremendous asset to the city, and she's been a tremendous asset to the city since she started working on behalf of the city. Just coming into this position, there's a million things that I didn't know. There's probably still a million things that I don't know. And just having that resource to go to, and really, I can basically ask her almost any question and she has an answer for me. And I feel like the rest of the council probably has had a similar experience with her, and that is just so helpful. And then not only that, but the job that she does as the city clerk, she's in effect kind of almost like a quasi city administrator, and just the knowledge, the vast array of knowledge and expertise she has, it's really impressive. And so the city is definitely going to miss her, and I wish her the absolute best in retirement, and I hope she, echoing Jason, I hope she sticks around and serves on some boards or continues to be an asset to the city in some way, shape, or form, as she has been for so long.
Hillary.
I want to thank Becky as well. She's been nothing but welcoming, and she has so much knowledge, especially since I've been in since January. There was a lot of stuff I didn't know had existed previously, and she's, like Austin says, has an answer for everything. I do want to say, they keep saying, join all these boards. Only join the boards if you want to, because you deserve to retire and spend time with your family. Like, do what you want to do now. So, thank you, Becky.
Mac?
Becky, you've been one of the expertise of the city from day one. I had an issue and you led me in the right direction. I value you just like I do the engineers and the department heads. I kind of question if I want to approve that or not, because you're going to be hard to replace.
Rich?
I think this is terrible for the city of Oglesby. Maybe some people don't realize how valuable the clerk has been throughout our time and throughout the time she served here. Her knowledge is something that we'll never be able to replace, and it's gonna be tough to move on without her.
Two things. One thing I realize here, it doesn't really say a time, just so people don't get confused. She's not resigning effective immediately today. I believe we're still gonna have her for at least 2 more council meetings, so she's gonna be here till the 18th of August. The other thing I wanted to make a mention is, while the search continues for a clerk, and I've said this in small circles, but I wanna say it here. I think the city of Oglesby probably has the most challenging clerk job in the entire state, and I mean that. If you're a city clerk that is elected, first of all, you're a figurehead. There's nothing that says that you actually have to work and do a daily, hourly, anything like that, right? So that's the first thing. If you're an appointed official, you have to work, right? You're gonna have to put an output and do stuff like that. In Oglesby here, it has got to be the most challenging because our size is so small for our population, but our budget and what we have, because of our electric situation and stuff like that, we have a very complex workforce. And so while there are larger cities that have appointed city clerks, they usually have a lot more staff and they have a lot more resources at their disposal. The city clerk of the city of Oglesby has so much that they have to do in one role. It's really overwhelming. So it's going to be a very challenging thing to find that replacement. So, okay, if anybody has nothing else, if we can get a motion to accept the resignation.
I move we accept the resignation of City Clerk Clinard. Do I have to say effective?
Okay.
So it's effective the 15th.
18th, I believe, right? 18th.
I move that we accept the resignation of City Clerk Clinard effective August 18th, 2025.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge,
No.
Cullinan,
Aye.
McDermott,
You really want it?
time to move on.
By your own, correct? Your own judgment. Just say yes or no.
I don't think that's fair to ask. I'm looking forward to retirement, Mac.
Yes.
Moyle,
If we do say no, like, can we keep her? Like, is that how it works?
No. We'll just be
Is that an option?
We'll be surprised on August 19th when she's not here. Then we'll be like, what happened?
I hope you enjoy your retirement. A.
She said retirement.
and Curran.
Aye. Thank you again for everything. F. We'll see her for a little bit yet. There might be a cake in the future too. So, all right, F. Republic Services update. So, a couple things here. So last week I was talking to John DeBernardi, and he was telling me on Monday or Tuesday he might have an answer about the recycling. And I think maybe about 4 o'clock today or something like that, 4:30, we got the answer that it looks like recycling is going to be back on for this week. Now, there's still some other issues out there. There is the issue of lawn bags. Talking with Commissioner McDermott, I'll let him talk about it. He's got a possible, at least a short-term solution.
With the lawn bags and yard waste, people can go ahead and take them to city street department around the back, go ahead and dump it. Please don't put any garbage in. As long as we're doing that properly, we'll go ahead and allow it for as long as they're not picking up anything, and we'll go that route. That sounds fair to everybody. You're more than welcome to give it a try.
So I can't emphasize this enough. So while I don't remember the details of why we did this in the past, I'm trying to remember the year, if it was 2019 or 2020. I cannot remember for the life of me. But we did do something like this before once, and it worked out really well. We had a drop-off spot where residents were allowed to bring lawn waste bags until people started abusing it, and then trash bags started showing up. And then we started running. So Commissioner McDermott and I talked about this. If that happens this time, we'll shut down the program immediately. Okay, so please don't ruin it for your friends and neighbors, because I do know there are some people out there, especially with the rain coming now. I'm sure there'll be more lawn clippings. There wasn't lawn clippings for at least a little while. So I know there's some people out there that have a good number of lawn clipping bags, and they'd love to have a place that they can drop them off. So let's try to be good neighbors and good friends, and utilize the service to where we can best utilize it. Anybody else have anything else they want to talk about on that subject at all?
No.
Okay. If not, thank you very much. We'll move on to that. Number 11, public comment on any topic. Please.
Mac, is that your phone?
Is this your entrance music as you walk up?
Yeah. There you go. That might have been theme music.
My name is Pat Flecker, and I'm a homeowner at 217A Oakwood Avenue and 219 Oakwood Avenue. And I believe Mr. McDermott has a packet of information that I've prepared. I am not interested in a response on any of this evening, but what it is a request to amend the sewer requirements for credits. And I am contemplating putting an irrigation system on my lot at 219 and also on the lot at 217A. And currently, the procedures do not allow for any type of credit structure. If I'm going to irrigate my lawn, I certainly don't want to pay for sewer on that. And what I'm requesting is an amendment to that procedure that would allow for dual metering. And the packet of information provides everything I think you need to know. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me, and either I can answer them or I will have the irrigation contractor speak to whatever questions you may have. So I just wanted to give you some background. And I'm not planning on doing this until the spring because I need to budget for this, but I would like to get some type of response within the next couple months, please.
So I can give you a little bit of feedback from what happened back in, oh my goodness, I want to say it was 2021 maybe. So, in 2020, I think in the packet here you have our, it should be in here, right?
Yeah, it
Yes.
is in there.
Yeah, so one of the things we created was, we did create, I think in the new water ordinance, that allows technically anybody, if they want to at their own costs, install a meter for your sewer, they could do that. The problem is, we looked into it, it's very difficult and it's very pricey. You have to basically get like a pit, a mag meter, an ejector pump. It's very costly. So it just wouldn't make sense for a homeowner to do. Where it would make sense for would be somebody like a business like GTI, or somebody that uses a lot of water in their products or something that they do, maybe a very large restaurant or something like that. So we created that one. That was the first thing that we did. But that doesn't really help the residents. Then the other thing that you have in here that we did create is, we had a particularly dry year, and there was people that were doing like lawn seeding and sod installation. So we already had an unwritten rule of how we do pool credits. It was never formalized, right? Basically, people that fill a pool, you tell us the size, the dimensions, and then we give you a one-time sewer credit for it. We also had another one that was an unwritten rule, which was the running toilet. You'd have a resident that maybe they're elderly and they don't even look at their toilet in the basement. It's been running for a month and a half, and they got a $1,500 sewer bill. right? So we would annotate that, and we'd give them that credit for that month. So what we did was we formalized these things, those 4 things that you see there, right? Pool credits, running toilet credit, new sod installation credit, newly seeded lawn credit, to help with that. Now, that doesn't solve all problems for all people. There were still more people that came back and said, hey, what about when I water my lawn or water my garden and stuff like that? We looked into yet another option, which was those, Lance, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but it was like some kind of like portable meter thing that you could hook up to, whether it's a garden hose or another pump, and you could rent it and do stuff. And we really looked at trying to find a way to make it work. And at the time, it was just really too cumbersome to be worth it. There was issues about trying to get them issued out. How do you know what they're being used for? How do you know who's using it? So we decided not to pursue that. And I'll be honest, while there's always a discussion, it is a new council. This council's never discussed that further. The 4 things that we've formalized that we give people, I really think that is a great service that we've done, and that still operates to this day. If people are running sod, or if they're running new lawns, seeded lawns and stuff like that, I think it's a great feature that we have. For me personally, unless there's new information that comes out there about how difficult it would be to manage these mobile meters, because that's what you're asking for,
I'm
right?
not asking for that, no.
You're not asking for a
No,
mobile
I'm not
meter?
asking. I'm asking for a second water meter to be installed that would just measure the water, and I would pay for the water that goes through that meter. The responsibility for installing that meter would be my responsibility. It would be my cost. Either I would work directly with the city and purchase the meter from the city, or the contractor would do that. But the meter and the installation would be the responsibility of the homeowner, and it would be a permanent meter. So I would have 1 meter that I currently have that registers both the water and the sewer, and then I would have a second meter that is hooked up only to the irrigation system,
Okay.
and then that would measure only the water. So I'm using the city water, but I am paying for it.
Yep. I thank you for that clarification. Because I didn't quite get that when I read this here, so that is super important.
Yes.
And that is something that we haven't investigated, so I think that, I did that as
Could
water
be.
commissioner, so good luck, Mac. But I think it's something to look into. It is merit.
The temporary fix that you were talking about, I'm not sure what they're called, but if you go up to Hy-Vee and you see them watering their flowers and that, you'll notice the meter on top of that.
Yeah.
On top of the fire hydrant.
Mhm.
That's what they're doing. They're measuring that meter. I'm not asking for that.
Got it.
I'm asking at my expense to install a separate meter to be hooked up only to my irrigation system.
I appreciate that clarification.
All right,
I think
thank you.
it's worth looking into. Thank you.
you.
All right. Any other public comment on any topic? No, we'll move on. Number 12, Commissioner reports. Commissioner Collins.
Yeah, so I don't have anything major tonight. The one thing I will say is this past week I sat down, obviously we're going through a transition period in the clerk's office. I sat down with each member of my department with the exclusion of the city clerk, and just kind of wanted to do a sort of reset with them, because I came in about halfway into the term of the seat, and at the time we were hiring 2 new part-timers, and so maybe it wasn't a good time. Maybe I should have done it then, but I did sit down with all my staff this week. We went over just the operations of the clerk's office. And what I have to say, what I have to report back is I obviously got some constructive feedback, but I got a lot of praise from the staff, and it was largely praise from the staff. And so, again, I think that's a testament to how tight of a ship that Clerk Clinard has run. So I thank her profusely for that. But I also want to acknowledge the girls that work in our office as well. They really did have a lot of great insight that they shared with me. And that kind of insight is really what helps build and sustain an organization. So I wanted to give them their props as well. But other than that, that's all I have for tonight.
Commissioner Moore.
It's my honor to recognize Richard Vici as July's We Are Oglesby Thank a First Responder recipient. This monthly recognition allows us to highlight the dedication and selflessness of individuals who serve our community through emergency response. Richard has been a committed member of the Oglesby Ambulance Service since April 2004, serving as an EMT basic. Over the past 2 decades, he has been a consistent and reliable presence, answering calls both during his scheduled shift and when off duty, proving time and time again that public service knows no clock. Beyond his duties in the field, Richard plays a vital role in the department's fundraising efforts and is an integral member of the Oglesby ambulance team, working hand in hand with the City of Oglesby to support and strengthen emergency medical services in our community. In appreciation of his service, Richard will receive a token of gratitude generously sponsored and donated by MP Automotive and Repair. We thank them for supporting this meaningful recognition program. Richard, we thank you for your dedication, compassion, and unwavering commitment to serving others.
Anything else? Commissioner McDermott.
Okay, well, I'd like to say we're finally getting some progress on, we have a tentative date for the spray patch on the 39. It'd be August 7th. Hopefully that works out. The dry bridge will start in about the middle of August sometime. They shouldn't counteract to each other. I mean, the spray patch should only take a day or two, and it should be okay. So traffic will still be able to go through. I want to thank We Are Oglesby again for everything they do. Becky, I want to thank you. Thank everybody for coming tonight and the discussion. I appreciate it. I want to thank the experts. Thanks for watching my back. Appreciate it, guys. Next, go ahead.
Commissioner Baldridge.
Just an update on the pool. I've heard that the patch that they did, the patchwork and painting and everything that they did was very effective, and it's not losing much, if any, water at all now. And I'm very thankful for that. And would like to tell the taxpayers, thank you for allowing us and the children to utilize this pool for as long as we can. That's it.
Number 13, Mayor's Report. A couple things. So the municipal band will be at the Dickinson House on the 31st of July. The band will kick off at 7 p.m. and the Dickinson House Foundation will be hosting their standard ice cream social. That'll start at 5:30. So I know it's a short notice thing, but that was about the only time the municipal band had available yet this year. So if your schedule's available, I know it's only 10 days from now, but please consider checking it out. It was really nice last time as well. Hopefully the weather will agree. The second thing I have is I just wanted to congratulate all of our boys and girls. We've had 3 district champions from teams of players from Oglesby that are representing at state for baseball and softball. The boys junior league, boys major league, and the girls junior league softball. In fact, the boys junior league came in second in state, and the girls junior league came in second in state as well. I've been so impressed. You know, I feel every time I keep talking about this, it starts to get kind of whitewashed to say congratulations for all these teams going to state. But when I was a kid, that was like a pretty once in a blue moon thing that happened, and we tend to have that happen quite a bit here in Oglesby. So I don't know if it's something in the water, if it's the talent, if it's the coaches, if it's the kids, whatever it is, or it's the parents raising kids. But I will say, again, I think I mentioned this at an earlier meeting. I was privileged to go to the high school graduation, and the valedictorian and the salutatorian were Oglesby residents as well. So not only are we excelling when it comes to academics, but we're excelling at sports. So parents and coaches and everybody from Oglesby should be very proud. I think they're doing a great job here. They're putting some good kids out into the world. So that's really all I got. With that, number 14 is executive session to discuss. I it gets so long anymore. Collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives or deliberations concerning the salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, 5 ILCS 120/2C2. The appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, 5 ILCS 120/2C1. And discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed under the OMA, whether for purposes of approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated in section 2.06, 5 ILCS 120/2C21. Can I get a motion to go into executive session for those reasons?
Motion to enter executive session.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. And the only action we have after executive session is if we are going to release any of the old executive session minutes. Chances are there won't be very many just because there's so much in negotiations going on right now. And on that, thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate it.
Go ahead, Mac.
Go ahead.
You go ahead, Mac.
Sure.
Absolutely. Take your time.
Guess I'll leave it.
You need anything, Mac?
Congratulations. I feel like that was a very long road for you. So I felt terrible. I'm like, I feel like we're threatening the poor man. He's not done anything wrong yet. So I do wish you good luck.
Make sure your mic's around.
Back in open session. Roll call, please.
Baldridge. Cullinan.
Here.
McDermott.
Here.
Moyle.
Here.
Curran.
Here. Number 15, release executive session minutes. We talked about some, we have a list of them, and I believe, is it Commissioner Morrell, are you going to read them off for
Sure.
us, please, if you'd like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to release the following executive session minutes from the following dates. February 6, 2023. January 2nd, 2024. January 24th, 2024. February 5th, 2024. August 19th, 2024. September 3rd, 2024. November 4th, 2024. January 6th, 2025. January 21st, 2025. February 3rd, 2025. February 18th, 2025.
It was 2 parts.
Okay, there's a second executive session, also February 18th, 2025. March 3rd, 2025. March 17th, 2025. And finally, April 7th, 2025.
Can I get a
No,
second?
second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Thank you.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. There's one thing I forgot to make a mention of, and I really should have done that. I don't even know who's even probably listening at home anymore, but this past week, IVRD was recognized by the International Academy of Emergency Dispatch as the world's 35th Police Accreditation Center of Excellence. And it's the second one ever in the state of Illinois. So out of 5,600 emergency dispatch centers across America, and I don't even know how many across the world, only 35 of them have ever gotten that distinction that IVRD did. It's a hell of an accomplishment, and it's a real success between all the cities involved to put something forward like that. So, sorry about that. All right, should probably make a mention of it again somewhere else. But number 16, adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Let's go.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye, we are adjourned.
Mic's up.
I was hoping to get home, so I was.